was like the Australian Young Doctors. And I was very successful, so I had to ask Jane Campion, look, I've got a soap to do, so I'm going to be a doctor on this new series called Shortland Street. So I went off to the soap. About 2-3 years went by, and then all of a sudden we heard about this movie, Once Were Warriors. I auditioned and I got the part of a policeman. Then I was ready to play Uncle Bully. And then about 4 weeks out of filming Once Were Warriors, I got a phone call from my agent, whose name was Ropata Bruce. He was a Scotsman, an ex-wrestler. He said, bro, they want you to read for Jake. I went, what? They want you to read for Jake Heke. Oh my God. And something inside me just went something, I don't know. Something inside me just went excited, I guess. Bam! Whoo! I had a funny feeling. This could be it. This could be it. So at lunchtime of Shortland Street, while I was being a doctor, I took off my doctor's coat. I went into makeup, put some dots on my face, went into wardrobe, found the roughest shirt I could find. Then I walked into this audition at lunchtime. And man, I did my audition. That night I went to sleep. I couldn't sleep because I was too excited about this audition for Once Were Warriors. Then my agent rings not so long, a few days later. Bro, you got the part, bro. I said, oh my God. Don't they know I'm a doctor and I'm a bit skinny? He said, bro, we got work to do. You got to come to the gym with me. So away we went to the gym. Me, Robert Bruce, another guy called Kevin Smith, who was a lovely friend of mine. He trained with us in the morning. Wonderful actor who passed away. Robert's passed away now. And a guy called Lance Rebel, who was a bit of a boxer, light heavyweight. And so we went to the gym, Clive Green, every morning. I had to start on getting ready for Jake, and I asked to get his boots, because obviously, as you can see, I'm very skinny. Very skinny, very slight. Short. And Jake was this humongous guy. Did you see how big he was? Huge! And I used to look at my hands going, oh, what wussy bloody hands. I'm like, how am I going to make my hands like Jake the Mus's mitts? Because he had big hands. So I walk around trying to stretch my hands out, make them bigger. They wouldn't get any bigger, but I just had to pretend. I got the boots. I had read one of my acting books that this wonderful actress, she would start with her character from her feet. What kind of feet does this character have? How did she place the feet? So my character was heavily based on those boots. As soon as I put those boots on, they had big heels on them. I had padding on the inside to make me 6'1". Because I was going to the gym, I was starting to get muscles. I started with 2 10s on either side on my bench press. By the time I started filming Warriors, I had 2 20s, and a 10 on either side. Man, I was getting strong. Then I started to wear those tight t-shirts, you know, because the muscles were starting to bulge. You know, you can tell the guys who first go to the gym, who've just been in the gym, they wear tight t-shirts after 2 weeks training. Make their muscles look bigger. But yes, it started to work. Protein shakes, I got my mum up to cook for me, scrambled eggs, mince for breakfast. Mum, have you had your dinner? She said, yes, I have, and then I'd eat the whole chicken for dinner. And a protein shake on top of that, back to the gym in the morning, back to Shortland Street, doing my doctor stuff. I finished on Shortland Street Friday night. We rolled on Warriors on Monday. That weekend I had a few rehearsals with Rena Owen. Now, my journey was different. She was Beth Heke. There was no one else who could do that role. She was it. And what an Oscar award performance that was. It was a matter of us as a cast firing ourselves up to match her potent emotional quality that she had. She had a well that she could draw on. She could cry like this. During the weekend prior to filming, we had a number of rehearsals. And I'm still in Shortland Street mode. I'm still in the doctor mode. And I wasn't giving much in the rehearsal. She had the ability to cry, just for some reason, she could just cry like that. Oh my God, this bloody woman crying in the rehearsal. Normally I wait for the take, but anyway. Anyway, she's crying, and I'm not quite there in the zone. And she looks at me, she goes, is that it? Is that all you're going to give me? And she's angry that I haven't turned up to rehearsal with enough fire in my belly. So she's pissed off. I hear words of howls of derision about this soap star playing Jake Heke. Is he going to cut it? They were worried. They were all worried. The producer started to ring Buck Shufford, who was the captain of the All Blacks. His name was on the list to play Jake Heke. The director stuck with me. He ran my agent and said, bro, you got to get that Dr. Ropata out of this guy and turn him into Jake. So we worked at the physical side. Then we do some weights. Then we started punching the bag. Hit it, man, hit it! These ex-wrestler agent of mine, Lance Revel, were trying to fire me up. Then my agent has a great idea. Let's put him in the ring. Give him a real fight. This guy, Jake's got to be tough. He's got to know how to take a punch. Well, I put on so much weight, I got in the boxing ring. The Tongan didn't know to take it easy on me. He just went, boom, 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 now I'm seeing stars. And I go back to the ring, the corner after round one. I said, bro, to my agent, Robin, I've done some stupid things, but this one's taking the cake. And at the time, I was a doctor on the soap, and I could hear the crowd going, come on, doctor, give him some of your medicine. Oh, I became the laughing stock of the whole boxing. There was one of those occasions in life where you wanted the world to open up and you wanted to disappear in it. I made a fool of myself. The producer and the directors had their heads down after I was getting beaten to a pulp in the boxing ring. Anyway, the director still stuck with me. And I said, I was hearing all the howls of derision. I was feeling it. I wasn't going into this film with confidence. I had to fire up. And then I was waiting for the take. Day after day, I went to work and just done my business. Fortunately for me, I knew a little bit about the Haka. Ha is breath. Ka is fire. Haka. Sometimes it works against the wallabies. Sometimes it doesn't. I start my Haka chants on the inside, just keeping the energy boiling. I start to stamp my feet like the Aborigine people here. I start to feel Mother Earth and those powers. And I try to stir my inner emotions into a fiery furnace of a warrior. Then I'd harness it, tone it right down, and say the dialogue. Who do you think you're talking to? Telling me who I can have in my house. And I'd use that Haka energy to fire myself up and to show those fellows who told me I wouldn't be able to do this role. I used that energy. Day after day, I went home after work, just had a sleep, went back to work. It come to the big scene when Beth walks in with the book. Look, Jake, and all that stuff. Everyone got their close-up. Now it was 8 o'clock at night. That's a wrap. We're going to have to come back and do your close-up tomorrow, Tim. I went, no, you can't do that to me. Everybody in the pub is firing. The extras are firing. Everybody had an energy and intensity. And I had to go back the next morning and do my close-ups. 7 o'clock the next morning, I turned up ready to go for my big close-up. Uncle Bully, Uncle. The other actors were asleep. No one was giving energy to me. The smoke machine was causing people's horrible responses. That's when you had to call on your inner emotion. That's when you have to act a little bit. When the other actors are still asleep and they're not giving. Acting is about giving and feeding, and you feed the other actor energy. You can't see it, but it's going from here through your soul, through your feet, through your soul, and out through your eyes, through your voice, to the other actor. They listen and reply with the dialogue that the writer's written for you in the draft, in the script. So it's giving and feeding. So I was very annoyed at half these actors that had been out on the booze. They turned up to work at 7 o'clock in the big pub scene, the big crescendo. One scene, I had to carry on and grab Uncle Bully and realize it was him. He was the rapist, and I had to run him into the wall and smash him into the kind of window frame. In the middle of the take, I fell over. And then we had to replay it, and there was Uncle Bully bashing himself up. I'd already fallen over. Yes, the crew had a wonderful spirit. In our crew, we had 90% Māori who were all trained by a man called Don Selwyn. He cast the film. There was a big credit towards Don, who's now passed on. He was casting the film. He even found Grace. Grace brought one of her friends in. She was playing table tennis outside. Don saw this one girl playing, hey, what are you doing here? Oh, I just brought my friend in for the audition. Oh, why didn't you come in and have an audition? Oh, no, I didn't want to have an audition. No, come in and have an audition. She got the part of Grace. My job in the movie was to shake Grace up. She didn't know how to act. Every shot, every scene that you saw her being upset, that was me going, roll the camera quickly, she's getting upset! Slap her around, literally put her in front of the camera, and that's how we got performances out of them. Literally by going through this horrible physical abuse. That was my job. I didn't really enjoy doing it. Come to about the 4th week, I was doing another scene with her, and I could see her look on her face going like this. And I said, this isn't working anymore, is it? She said, no, you don't scare me anymore. Okay, darling, now you've got to do some acting. And she was good too, man, that girl Grace. 20 years ago, the guy, Nick, Julian Arahanga, beautiful documentary maker now, made a documentary. Where are the Hekes now? Where the heck is everybody? We found them all. Grace was up in Cairns there, mother of 3. The girl, little Polly, found her in a fish and chip shop in Tolaga Bay. 3 or 4 kids. The little boy, Ropata, he's humongous now, he's right up there. 26 milked cows. We had a lovely documentary. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be screening on Māori television very shortly. Any questions? Any questions?
How did you manage to drink all that grog?
There was no drinking. All water. All water in those bottles. And I watched Michael Caine a lot. And I watched, the director told me to watch a movie called Streetcar Named Desire. A Marlon Brando film. Stella! Remember that scene? That was me. I was Marlon Brando. But it wasn't called Streetcar Named Desire, it was called Once We're Warriors. A long time ago when the movie came out, I saw the Chicago Times. The writer had a review on Once We're Warriors. This guy's like a Maori Stanley Kowalski. Hey, how about that? Then years later I got to work with Brando in the island of Dr. Moreau, up here in Cairns, up in the Daintree. The island of Dr. Moreau. I got to work, I had all the dog makeup on me. Marlon Brando's PA goes, oh Tim, we watched your movie last night. What a great performance, what a film. Marlon came in and watched it. I went, oh my God, did he? Man, Marlon Brando watched my movie. I had to watch Marlon Brando to get ready for this film. Blow me down, he walks in, he sits at the end of the table where he's doing, I'm his right-hand dog in the movie, literally. I'm a half dog, half human. Asasalo was my name. And then he goes like this. Saw your movie last night. Very, very good, very good. I thought I was watching a documentary. So real. That's Marlon Brando's compliment. So for me as a young Māori actor, battling the hows of derision, overcoming, getting to play that role, I had to try and own that role. Finally getting to meet Marlon Brando on another film and him paying me a compliment for that role was quite amazing.
Recall for the audience
Yes, correct.
for the experience of taking the film out across the world. For such an intrinsically New Zealand film, we've travelled everywhere,
Yes.
including Sundance and places like
Yes, I got to the Sundance Film Festival, it was all dark, I saw a gentleman come and sit on the floor, there was no seats available. The lights went up, there was Robert Redford. Yeah, that's Robert Redford. He was watching my film. Yes, it just transcended cultures. I remember being in New Zealand. Hello, answer my phone. Yes, it's the Tel Aviv Express from Israel. We'd like to interview Temuera Morrison. Tel Aviv, Israel? Man, what's the weather like there? Wow. The movie went all around the world.
And then you went all around the world. Your career, taking in diverse projects,
Yes.
Barbed Wire and
Yes.
Speed 2.
Yes.
And
Yes, I managed to... it's funny how things worked
all the
out.
way to Star Wars, we should
Yes,
point out.
yes, I went to Star Wars. Yes, do I have a question here, Tony? Yes.
How did you lose the anger after you...
How did I lose the anger afterwards? I literally finished Shortland Street on a Friday night after doing 54 scenes on my soap, which was like a record. Then I went for 5 weeks' work on Once We're Warriors. I finished on a Friday, then I went straight back to the soap again, because I only had 5 weeks off. I was a bit of a madman when I went back to the soap. People would bring patients in and I'd be swearing at them. I'd be swearing at all the nurses. I don't know what got over me. It took me about a month to finally calm down and not swear at everybody. Patients would come in. What's the matter with you, buddy? You'll be sick, all right? If you got an eye problem, have you? I was so angry. Ooh. Even some of the actors go, ooh, Jake, go away, Jake, it's back to Dr. Ropata now, come on. Yes, very sick.
Jake became such a symbol for the New Zealand people and the New Zealand community. How were you treated, people passing you on the street? How would you define your fame after Once the Warriors came out?
I think I just gave everybody a bit of a fright because the New Zealand public was used to seeing this doctor image on Monday to Friday, 7 o'clock, Dr. Ropata. And so I think I got a little bit more respect in terms of the acting side of things. You know, people obviously know it was a big drama, it was a big break for me. And they were quite pleasantly surprised that I could pull this performance. I remember a long time ago I got a book by Harvey Keitel doing the piano. We were all right into our acting. Harvey Keitel gave us a book, The 7 Lessons of Acting by Boris Lasky. Ooh, and all us mollies on the set of the piano were, ooh, did you get a book from Harvey? We all had a book each. Ooh. So we treasured it. And on my one here, Harvey had written, Shake the Darkness. Shake the Darkness. At that time on the piano, I didn't really know what he was on about. But after I finished Once We're Warriors, I kind of realized shaking the darkness. When you do these kind of roles, you have to go really, really deep inside and find something to bring out. And sometimes it is literally from the dark side, like that other Star Wars. Yes, I had to dig deep. So I'm just saying, it wasn't just a role that I got given. I had to work hard for it. I really, there were times where you sort of had lunch and you sort of done quite an emotional scene or a little physically violent scene, but it took a lot of stunt work. We never hit each other once. It was all through stunts and clever angles with the camera. It was quite a physical, tiring shoot. Ooh, and that woman, Brando, and I just say once again, we did have our little moments. Everything's not rosy all the time. We did have our artistic moments, but at the end of the day, I really believe that a lot of us had to lift our game to match Brenda's performance. And for me, when there was a moment in that film where she just was still and she didn't cry, because she could cry so well. I remember her coming into the bus, she was crying, I'm sick of this, Lee. Lee was the director. I just can't do this anymore. She was having a bit of a breakdown. I said, oh my God, the poor thing. So I went up to her and said, try not crying for this scene. Just don't cry at all. And that was the scene outside the hospital with her mate comforting her. And she just stood there quite still. That was the moment I cried. So it was a lesson for me as an actor. Sometimes allow the audience to come inside you by not crying. Let the audience cry. Any questions? Come on, I'm here. I brought that. Yeah. Thank you very much to the Gold Coast film people. Thank you very, very much for this invite. Please make me a permanent fixture of this festival. Thank you very much to Sofitel for a wonderful room. Oh, and the buffet breakfast. Oh my God, thank you very much. The breakfast was so nice. It goes from 6:30 till 10 o'clock, so I go down at 6:30 for breakfast. And then I'm walking back in at 9:30 and the lady goes, Mr. Morrison, weren't you here at 6 o'clock this morning? No, that wasn't me. That was one of my clones from Supernova. Thank you very much again. It's lovely to be here. I'm very blessed. Thank you. Yes, sir.
First of all, I thought you depicted your character excellent. By little things like the way you ate your food.
That was my favorite scene. Ooh, what about that mince?
Yeah.
Ooh, if you know how to eat a good mince, it's always a bit hot. Then you got to put all that salt on. Ooh, and then you got to have a loaf of bread on the side. Ooh, maybe a bit of tomato sauce. We call it ketchup, Ooh, and then you got to eat it like that. There's a bit of an act to that. I really worked hard on that scene. By the time I finished that scene, I'd eaten enough mince. Man, I'm sick of mince. Thank goodness for that buffet at the Sofitel. Oh my God, I'm not eating mince anymore.
My question is...
Oh, sorry. I got carried away with that mince scene, yes.
My question is, what do you think of the modern representation in film today? For instance, in this film, and Utu, River Queen, another film that you were in.
Well, we're such a tight, small industry. It's hard to get any film up and running now. I just went to a Māori film festival in Otaki. I spoke to a number of producers there. They said, oh my God, I have to go work now. I have to pay for this film I just made. It's really, really tough. And so to get any of our films made, We had a little golden era there back in the 80s where the tax incentives were a little bit better. Now, we're just hearing today, in fact, that our government has increased it from just to invest in more overseas productions, just to encourage them to come down our way again. So they've increased some of the rebates. But as far as our stories are concerned and the whole Māori thing, a lot of films now, we kind of sort of just say yes and try to make them so we get a lot more experience. We allow that it's not so much about us as actors, sometimes it's just about our crew and training more people up in the industry. And this film here, we had a high percentage Māori crew on this too, so with that came a wonderful spirit for the project. A lot of humour, and even though we're dealing with some of these horrible things, you know, we treated it quite lightly in the way we approached it and things like that. But yes, we've got a long way to go. Yeah, I noticed also a lot of those movies that we do make, like The Whale Rider, you know, those are the Watch the Warriors, those are the films, boy, that are actually standing out, you know, with those Māori themes to them. So yes, we're still in infancy.
Do you know what waka you come from, by the way? Do you know your heritage, the waka you come from?
What waka? I like that. That's right. We all come from a waka. The canoes that came down from Tahiti. I relate to a number of those waka. Te Arawa. I'm from a place called Rotorua. We come from the Te Arawa waka.
Yeah. And
my mum's from the King country. In fact, I was just back there at her place called Ngāti Maniapoto. And we just had 150 years since the Rewi's last stand. This was the Civil War that took place in New Zealand. In 1864, one of the last battles took place back on my mother's side, which is Ngāti Maniapoto. And we just had the 150 commemoration of that battle. Where about 1,500 colonial British soldiers were fighting, 300 of my tupuna, women and children, bayoneted, holding the Bible in their hand. They had to make a run for it at the end of the day. They were down to shooting peach pips and sticks. No, their ammunition ran out after 3 days, ran out of potatoes, so they just made a run for it. Some of them got away. But yes, and even those kinds of things would make great stories. But you know, to make period pieces like that costs a lot of money these days to recreate the period. But yes, we're still growing very much, and there's a lot more Māori getting into the industry now. Trouble is, you know, we have The Hobbit there with Peter Jackson, good on him for all his success, and then we have little TV shows like Shortland Street. And sometimes there's we've had Spartacus and Lucy Lawless's husband make a lot of television, Hercules and Xena, but even those kind of things, you know, which gave a lot of work to our technicians. So yes, we're very small back down in New Zealand. Like we probably make 2-3 movies a year now.
Any other questions, just quickly?
Yes, questions. Yes. Yes, sir.
How old were you when you started acting, and were you influenced by your dad?
Yes, my father was you might be thinking of my dad, like my uncle Howard Morrison. He was a singer. Yes, that's my uncle. And he was a very well-known singer in New Zealand.
Yes.
In fact, like a lot of our people, we all got into the music of the 60s, and my uncle was like the Frank Sinatra of New Zealand. So yeah, that's where I was heading. I was heading for a musical career. You're just too good to be true. I can't take my eyes off of you. But everyone in Rotorua and everyone in my family could sing. So I said, I'm going to go acting. There's too many singers in my family. So I went acting, yeah. But now it looks like I'm not getting too much acting work, so I've got to go back to singing again. And when I wasn't singing, I was doing radio work. So I tried to do everything that complements acting, whether it be radio that works with my voice. I worked on journalism, television, journalist in television as well, making infotainment programs. So anything with a camera, I just love working with. So I got better. It actually makes your acting good too, because you know how it all works, you know how editing works, you know when to hit a good performance, you know all about close-ups and things like that. So that's what I did. I had a seed from my entertainment family background, and I got into a bit of drama. Sorry, there's someone in the back here? Yes.
In between the two movies, the character's quite different in what comes with a broken heart. Did you find it hard bringing them back to life, and did you prepare differently for it, or did you sort of just go back into things?
I had to go find those boots again. It was a bit of a pain in the butt to try and bring all that stuff out again. Once I made the decision to make the second one, I had problems with the director. There was a whole lot of issues, the writing, the screenplay and everything, and the ending. But for me, I was actually a lot better in that second one because I had a little bit more time to prepare. I wasn't faced with all that negative blooming criticism at the beginning if I was going to pull it off. So I just went in and I actually prepared just more so. I just wanted to be better. Just wanted to be better. Yeah.
I think we're running. Oh, one more question over here, then we'll wrap it up.
No, I don't want to wrap it up. I want to talk here. They can stay for another hour and listen to me. Then I'm going to sing for another hour until there he is. Okay.
Temuera 24 years ago, you and Temuera and my brothers, different ones, you did a MC for a concert for Lani.
Yes, that's right, concert for Lani, yes.
Kia ora.
Oh, kia ora, Lani. Yes, I remember that, with Tapa and everybody. That's that guy in the movie who's playing the guitar.
Yeah.
Play something we don't know.
Lani survived the cancer and
Yeah, we got you.
You still live in New Zealand, or are you based out of Los Angeles now?
I still live in New Zealand. I go to Los Angeles a lot though. Sometimes I just go there, see what's happening. The Rock seems to be getting all my movies now. So when he turns up with this movie down here, I heard he's turning up here. I let him know he's probably going to be hired as Django Fat too in the next Star Wars probably. But they're too handsome. His muscles are too big. I have to go back to the gym.
Do you want to finish that one?
yeah.
Yes, sorry.
That's all right. Hey, having lived in Hunga and Ropata and so forth, and sitting on seeing the big screen and all, you know, where we went, and versus the house in New Zealand back there, I used to work in the court, and where, you know, when you're filming, and I said to Lani, oh Jesus, I used to hate going in that court. It made it even worse after after the movie came out. But that's now all housing New Zealand, the court.
Yes.
District court, that's all funny, you know, for housing New Zealand clients.
Yes.
But the other thing was, in terms of, when I look at it on the big screen from years ago, we used to put in our criminal video then, how the debriefing, always coming back now and you look at, you know, what's going on and TV and, you know, all those things you talk about. The debriefing today and the mentoring with the young actors and actresses and what they're dealing with, is that changing what used to be completely in the industry? Because what they're dealing with?
Well, I think we've not so long ago we were making a movie called Mount Zion at the time. That's right. We were making this film, and at the same time we were making Mount Zion. There was a Māori production, and they were taking a Māori language Shakespeare play to London to be part of Shakespeare's week, where they invited all these people all around the world. And that was just, and it was all happening within the same block. I remember one day, so it was really quite an exciting time. And then all of a sudden it all goes away and there seems to be nothing, you know what I mean? But there are a number of young actors coming through now. You know, they're really getting stuck into it. And through the other big exciting thing in the performing arts is not so much what's happening, there's a Haka. It seems to be our big thing amongst our young people now. And this is where the makatini, where all the cultural groups are getting involved in their Haka performances, and they're becoming very dynamic, very passionate. The choreography is just going up now, and trying to get into the group and qualify to be one of the 40 is getting more difficult. So there's a kind of a resurgence happening within our youth, and it seems to be geared towards their language, the reo, trying to retain our language, bringing it alive again. And the Haka side. And yes, and I see a lot more young actors coming through. When I was in the industry, there was only a couple that, you know, I could only have, there was only 2 or 3 people on TV that I could relate to. So now it's growing, yeah, a lot more talent coming out.
Okay, when can we see you at Supernova?
Supernova?
You're across the road.
Yeah, I've got to go over there, the Django Fat.
Yes.
Put on my other helmet.
That'll be this afternoon and tomorrow?
Tomorrow, maybe, yeah.
Yeah,
It's this
tomorrow,
afternoon, about 4 o'clock, I think.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, some autographs.
You were full of
Hey, I've got a little present over there. Is there any young and up-and-coming filmmakers here or actors? Yeah. Is that you, buddy? I've got a book here. It's called Temuera Morrison, From Haka to Hollywood. It's a bit of a book I wrote that you can't get it anymore. I got a letter from Penguin, and I went, oh my God, my residual check, my royalty check. Thank goodness, I got quite excited. I opened it. Due to lack of sales, your book has been taking off. There was no check in the envelope whatsoever, so now I'm giving them away. But yeah, the theme is from Haka to Hollywood, so I started very humble beginnings. I loved just a Maori boy from Rotorua. I loved doing the Haka. Loved it. Did it for a living. Went to the tourists, went to the Kapa Haka competitions. Loved singing, and I thought, I better try my hand at this acting. So it's come in handy, having that Haka background to fire up those internal processes that we as performers. So with that, I'd like to give you this, my friend, and I'm going to write what Harvey Keitel wrote to me as a young actor. Shake the darkness. In Māori we could say, Taruru te pō. Shake it up, buddy. Temuera Morrison. And may I just conclude by saying, ngā mihi kia koutou. May the force be with you, is a saying that we hear from Star Wars. But to me, the force is already inside you. My tupuna call it the Mauri. That's why you hear ti he Mauri ora. We pay respect to the breath, to the life force, Mauri. So the force is inside you, called Mauri. Use it. Don't abuse it.
Temuera Morrison, everyone.
Here you go, brother. Yes.
Can you put the Reihana?
Tureihana. 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 That's a Māori name. Beautiful. Reihana. There you go. It's the last one I've got. The last book. Okay, thank you very much.